Hey, boys and girls. Okay, so today in writing, your target, and it's right under here over day 2, it says you're learning to identify ways the author can adapt fairy tales. And so remember, we were listening to all these stories and we were saying, oh my gosh, the author did this, the author did that. Well, today you are going to create a plan about how you are going to change some details of the story, The Three Little Pigs. So let's see how we might do that. You'll know you're successful when you can adapt the character, setting, and events of a familiar fairy tale. Okay, so today I want to teach you that when writers plan how an adaptation of a story will go, they do two things. First, they decide on a change that will improve the story. So you're going to come up with one change that's going to improve the story. And then second, you're going to make sure that the change, that one big change, leads to other changes so the whole story fits together. Often, the one big adaptation cascades like a row of dominoes. What does that mean? It means think of the dominoes, how you line them up. And just by making that one change, it hits all the other dominoes and knocks them down. So once you make a change, it's going to affect the other pieces within the story. And we know we always want those pieces to fit together. So let's look at, I'm going to be working with Cinderella. So we know Miss Cinderella is mistreated by her stepmother and her stepsisters. She has to do all the work. An invitation comes to a ball at the palace. They tell Cinderella she has to get them ready for the ball and she has to stay home cleaning the ashes out of the fireplace. Then the fairy godmother comes, gives Cinderella a fancy dress, the fancy pumpkin, but the magic will go away at midnight. Remember, guys, we know this story. Cinderella goes to the ball and dances with the prince. At the stroke of midnight, she runs out, leaving a glass slipper, which the prince finds. The prince searches for the owner of the slipper. He finds Cinderella. He gets married, and they live happily ever after. Well, what is that one big change that we can make? So here are some suggestions of things that you can change. So, and we saw it in the different versions of Cinderella that we listened to. We can change a girl to a boy. You can change the fancy godmother to dirty, like a dirty godmother, I guess. You can change events, old fashioned to modern. You can modernize it. That means like in today's times. Rich and fancy, or you can change it to something people can relate to. You change the motivation, maybe from wanting more money and power to wanting to do good in the world. Remember, you're going to choose one thing to change in the Three Little Pigs. And that one change, remember the domino effect. It is going to make the other pieces change along the way, but you're not going to change. We still want to be able to recognize the relationship between the Three Little Pigs and your new story. So here is my plan, all right? Okay, so here's my plan, and you are going to fill something just like this. We know writers are intentional about our writing, so look at mine. You'll have access to mine in your Google Classroom, and then you are going to also fill it out. Again, you're working on the Three Little Pigs and how you are going to make changes to that story. So here's my plan. Cinderella is a beautiful, intelligent lady. She lives in the barn on her family's ranch in Justin, Texas. The story takes place in the summer. Cinderella just wants to be alone to read her books. So that is kind of my introduction. Then we have the beginning of my story. She's still the stepsister, that's the same, who is treated like a servant. She loves reading, but is always interrupted because she has to make sure her stepsisters have everything they need whenever they demand it. Not to mention, she cares for the animals and cleans the house too. So what's the problem? Notice I'm not writing my whole story right now. I'm answering these questions on the left. Here's the problem. Her stepsisters threw away the invitation to help with the fundraiser because they do not like the library or books. Now children will not know the joy of reading if all the books are never to be checked out again. She thinks if she can read to the children, everyone will experience the joy and buy books to save the library. Here's the end. The fairy godmother is going to grant Cinderella's wish so she may have the fundraiser. She gives her a new outfit and bright new sparkly shoes. And then the